The Wild Area event is officially 3 weeks away in Pokemon Go. And whether you're deciding to buy a ticket or not for this event, I want you guys to be fully prepared for it, whether you're playing the free or the ticketed version. So without further ado, let's talk about how to be ready for the Pokemon Go Wild Area event. Now, if you don't know, this event is one that is very similar to GoFest or the tour events, in which there's going to be a $12 ticket you can buy to get an increased paid experience, or you can play the free version of the experience. Now, specifically, this event is going to be November 23rd and November 24th, 10 a.m. to 6:15 p.m. your local time each one of those days. I will have a video dropping on November 12th about whether the Go Wild area is worth it or not, in my opinion, but I will link below the blog post which breaks down everything happening, so you can go ahead and take a look, make that choice for yourself. Anyway, whether you're gonna be buying the ticket or not, let's talk about how to prepare this event for the free or the ticketed version. Okay, the number one thing to prepare for any event, really any big global event, is going to be Pokeballs. Pokeball prep is the most important thing in Pokemon Go, and having enough Pokeballs to catch Pokemon is the number one key feature of this event, so you wanna make sure you have enough. Now, I've been stocking up for a while, so I have 3,000 Pokeballs, 41 Great Balls, and 2,100 Ultra Balls. So I have a lot of Pokeballs. How did I get all these? Well, obviously the number one strategy is going to be to spin Pokestops. That's the number one method of grinding Pokeballs. And specifically, if you get a auto-catching device like a Pokemon Go Plus Plus, you can go ahead and walk, drive around, bike around in your busy area, and that device will automatically spin Pokestops for you. I actually have a route that I can do near my area where if I drive in a car, I can get about 200, 300 Pokeballs every 20 minutes, which makes it one of the most efficient strategies to grind Pokeballs. Now, there is ways to also increase the amount of Pokeballs you get from Pokestops. Number one, powering up Pokestops, which is that AR feature where you can power up a Pokestop and it will drop more Pokeballs. You can also use golden lures or host a golden lure module party, which if you don't know, you get golden lures from sending Pokemon to the Pokemon Switch game Scarlet or Violet. Once you have a golden lure, you and a bunch of friends can go ahead and drop them, and golden lured Pokestops will drop more items than normal. It can be a top tier strategy where you and a couple of your friends get a bunch of golden lures and then you all drop them at the same time, hit the loop a bunch of times, and grind as many Pokeballs as you can. But obviously, this is not possible for everyone to go ahead and grind Pokeballs through the Pokestop system. If you live in a rural area and there's less Pokestops, obviously you can go ahead and try to nominate Pokestops, which I will link below a video on how to increase Pokestops in your area, as that will solve this issue over time for you. But in the meantime, opening gifts can be a great way to grind Pokeballs as well. You can open 20 gifts every single day, and there's about 21 days until the Wild Area event, so that's about 400 gifts open, which is a lot of Pokeballs you can collect. Obviously, you're gonna have to hold off on probably using these Pokeballs because you want to obviously save them for the Wild Area, but highly recommend you open gifts. If you need friends, by the way, join the Pokédexy Discord. We have a friends channel in there where you can go ahead and add a bunch of friends from around the world, and they will send you gifts, and you can go ahead and send them gifts. You guys can help each other out and get a bunch of Pokeballs. Don't sleep on Pokeball prep. It's like, without Pokeballs, you're not playing this event. One thing to note though is that you're gonna need space in your item bag to hold these Pokeballs. I always recommend people are like, how much Pokeballs should you have during the event? Like, the more Pokeballs, the better. I usually have 80% of my storage held towards Pokeballs. Right now, it might even be more, or I have like 5,000 Pokeballs out of 7,000. So like, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the amount of balls I have right now. But how do we clear our storage to make sure we have space for these balls, and what would I end up deleting? Well, first of all, I always delete my regular 2 potions and my hypers. You can keep hypers if you don't have as many max potions, but I have a bunch of max potions. I'll also delete revives and if I have a bunch of max revives. But story is, across your revives and across your hyper and max potions, you should have about 100 potions if you can. These are going to be very useful for the max battles and the raids we can go ahead and take down during the Wild Area. But do note, it's fine to have a little bit less. You can drop to 50 potions and 50 revives if you want, because when you take down max battles or when you take down raids, you're going to be getting potions in return to replenish. So if you need more space for Pokeballs, you can dump that even more. In terms of berries, usually the only berries I'll keep are going to be pineapples, golden razzes, and silver pineapple berries, but I don't really recommend you go ahead and just delete like this. I just did it, but usually don't do that. The best thing to do is to drop into gyms when you have extra berries, as that will be a great way to grind Stardust and candy for Pokemon. Scrolling down all of these items, I'll go ahead and keep rare candies. Where will I dump my rare candies? Well, it's very important to dump your rare candies into Palkia or into Dialga. Dialga and Palkia, although they're also coming back during the event, have the adventure effects of Spatial Rend and Roar of Time, which are very powerful adventure effects we'll get to a little bit later in the video, but I always dump my candies into that. Right now, I'm actually working on doing a 24-hour daily adventure instance video, so I need more Dialga candies, so we're gonna go ahead and drop those into Dialga. You can even drop the rare Candy XL if you want. I'm holding onto mine. I usually save mine up until I have enough to max a Pokemon level 50. Not sure what's the next Pokemon I'm gonna max out, but we're saving those up. Raid passes, you're obviously gonna wanna keep. All this you wanna keep. In terms of TMs, keep all your elite TMs, obviously, because they're really hard to get. But in terms of regular fast and regular charge TMs, I usually keep 25 fast and 50 charge. The whole point here is just keep more charge than fast TMs. And in terms of evolutionary items, I keep 10 of each, except for Sinnoh Stones and Unova Stones, I keep 30 of each. You can even keep less. I usually find the thing about these stones is like when you actually need them, when there's an event where a Pokemon's evolving with it, usually Niantic will give us a research that also gets these stones. So you can go ahead and kind of avoid those. Pokeballs. Nonetheless, go ahead and clear your storage to make sure you have space for those Pokeballs, because without space for Pokeballs, you're screwed. But the second most important resource, in my opinion, in Pokemon Go for events like this is going to be Pokecoins. Pokecoins are what's going to get you items. It's what's going to get you raid passes, max particles if you want to take down more Gigantamax toxtricities. So overall, what are the best ways to grind Pokecoins and get ready, because you want to start prepping your Pokecoins now so you have a bunch going into the event. Now, obviously, the number one strategy and really only free way to get Pokecoins right now is going to be gymming, unless they go ahead and drop one of those researches again that gives us Pokecoins. Now, you will earn 1 coin every single 10 minutes a Pokemon is in a gym, up to a max of 50 coins every single day. Meaning you have to be in a gym for about 8 hours and 20 minutes every single day to get your max coins. But the thing is, 2 of your Pokemon have been in gyms for 8 hours or whatever, and they both get knocked out on the same day, you'll still only get a max of 50. Nonetheless, the point is here that it is very vital for you guys to go ahead and try to get the most out of gyms as you can. Now, the number one strategy for gymming is to just communicate with the other team. This is a tried and true strategy in which you kind of try to find the players in your local area, the people who are dropping into gyms. You can do that via Campfire or Discord or whatever, and talk to them. Be like, hey, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym in the morning. I'm gonna sit there for 8 hours and 20 minutes. Then you come in, knock me out, sit for your 8 hours and 20 minutes. I'll come back, knock it out. Communication is really the best way to go ahead and gym and pretty much confirm your 50 coins every single day. 21 days until the wild area event. That's 50 coins a day. That's 1,050 coins that you could have going into this event. Obviously, that can be used on raid passes. It can be used on lucky eggs, incubators, whatever you end up wanting to go after, but it's not coins you want to sleep on. If you're a free-to-play player, gymming is an essential. Even if you're not free to play and you spend money on the game, it'd still be nice to get some extra coins in this method. Drop below your gymming strategies, but overall, in my opinion, the best way to do it is just communicate with your local area. Number 2, obviously, get a job. This becomes a meme in every prep video I talk about, but really the best way to guarantee you getting coins is to spend your own money. Now, obviously, if you already have a job, you probably have income. You can go ahead and use that on coins. If you actually buy your coins through the web shop, you actually get a couple more out of it. It's not that much more, but if you want to get a little more value out of your bank, then go ahead to the Pokemon Go web store and buy your coins through there. However, if you don't have a job, obviously getting one, doing something very simple like a mailing route, cutting grass, shoveling driveways, whatever might be a popular job in your area. I actually worked at McDonald's for a long time, but that was my way of getting money that I would invest into games, into like Call of Duty Zombies maps and stuff like that. It is also cool right now, you don't actually even need to buy Pokecoins through the in-game store or through the web shop. Walmart actually started dropping these little cards you can go ahead and buy that do relate to Pokecoins. Pretty cool little thing. You can also go ahead and buy those if you don't have like a credit card or anything like that, and you want to go ahead and buy them through the Walmart by using cash or something like that. Nonetheless, Pokecoins, get on them, whether you're going to be buying them or going them for free. It is very useful to have Pokecoins during big events like the Wild Area event, because you really want to take advantage of all the bonuses we're getting. Let's talk about Mega Pokemon. Now, if you don't know Mega Pokemon, when you go ahead and evolve them, you'll get more candy, XP, and XL candy for catching Pokemon that share a type with the Mega. It is very important, though, to have your Mega at a high level, because there's 3 different level Megas you can have, and the higher the level, the more that bonus of candy, XP is, etc. How do you level up your Mega? Well, you Mega Evolve a Pokemon over and over again on individual days. So you want to Mega Evolve a Pokemon once a day to level it up. I believe it takes 21 or like 30 days to max it out. For example, here I have this Charizard, which is at the max level Mega, which means we're getting all of these boosts when I Mega Evolve it. I've actually created a tag here. Actually, I don't have it anymore. But as an example, I would go Mega Plus. And in here, I can add any of the Pokemon I want to go ahead and Mega Evolve every single day. And I'll come into this tag, Mega Evolve them once. For example, let's just throw in like a Lucario. I can come in here, I can Mega Evolve them once every single day to work on their level. Now, during this event specifically, it is a electric and poison type event because it's around the Pokemon Toxtricity. So you want to make sure you have at least a max level Mega of an electric and a poison type Pokemon. That includes for the poison types, Mega Venusaur, Mega Gengar, or Mega Beedrill. And then for the electric types, Mega Ampharos, Mega Manectric, or Primal Kyogre. So go ahead and level up those Megas. It's going to be one of the best things you can go ahead and do, and have these for the event. We also have adventure effects, though. We talked about these briefly before, but there's 2 main adventure effects we want to take advantage of in the game that are actually relevant. First of all, Palkia here is going to have the Spatial Rend ability, which will double your spawn distance for 10 minutes by using Palkia candy and Stardust. So not only do you want to get a bunch of Palkia candies, which luckily enough, Palkia and Dialga will be in raids starting on November 18th, so you can build up the candies going up to their event. but also you want to make sure you have a Palkia with Spatial Rend, and you want to have a Dialga with the effect Roar of Time. Now, Roar of Time will freeze your premium items, so Lucky Eggs, Incenses, Daily Incenses, Star Pieces, all of them will be frozen in time, meaning you can get more out of them by using Roar of Time. Now, the way you get a Dialga with Roar of Time or a Palkia with Spatial Rend is, luckily enough, going to be through the raid starting on November 18th, but if you want to get one before that, you can also receive them from trade. It literally does not matter what the IVs on your Dialga is or your Palkia is. You can literally just get a throwaway Dialga, a throwaway Palkia from a friend who might have extras. I'm sure a lot of people do. And then you can use that one as your Roar of Time or Spatial Rend Palkia. And remember, put your rare candies into these Pokemon and grind their candies for the Pokemon through the raid so you have enough to actually run these adventure effects, because they do not run for free. Another thing during the event, we do have legacy moves available from evolving Pokemon, specifically Venusaur with Frenzy Plant, Pidgeot with Gust, Poliwrath with Counter, Gyarados with Aqua Tail, Feraligatr with Hydro Cannon, and Luxray with Psychic Fangs. So if you evolve any Pokemon into those Pokemon, they will come with their legacy moves. So it can be very nice to come into your search bar here, start looking at your, I don't know, Bulbasaurs, for example. Bulbasaur, can't spell. And go ahead and check the IVs on these. And if there's any of the ones that you think you might be like, oh, this is a good Bulbasaur, I'm gonna go ahead and evolve it for the move. You can go ahead and create a tag for this, call it Wild Area Evolve. Tag a bunch of Pokemon in there for all of them. Another meta relevant one right now is Feraligatr. I know a lot of people want Feraligatr with Hydro Cannon for PvP, so that's another good one to go ahead and mark. But anyway, set up a tag for that. That will be very useful, so then when the day does come, you can quickly evolve all these Pokemon and get the legacy moves on them. Another preparation you can do is gonna be for the Gigantamax and the Dynamax Pokemon we are getting, which is Toxtricity. Toxtricity is, of course, a electric and poison type, making it 4 times weak to ground type. Niantic have done us the favor of allowing us to prep for this Pokemon by giving us Drillbur in the max battles in November. Specifically, November 18th from 6 to 7 p.m. your local time will be Drillbur's Max Monday, a new event where Drillburs will be everywhere in max battles during that time frame. So I highly, highly recommend, if you are going to be taking on the max battles, start preparing now, because there is strategy to the Gigantamax battles. You can't just go in with anything. You have to have the correct Pokemon, the correct strategy. Dynamax Excadrill will be the #1 counter for the Toxtricity. So prep, go play the Drillbur Max Monday, get those Drillburs, get those Excadrills ready, powered up, get their moves on them, upgrade their max moves, all that stuff on November 18th, 6 to 7 p.m. so you can start prepping them. I don't know if Drillbur will drop in max battles just normally sooner. If it does, if you see them, go ahead and take them down, because again, Dynamax Excadrill, the #1 Pokemon to take down the Toxtricity, which will be available during this event. Now that's everything you can do in-game, but in-game is not all of Pokemon Go. There are different things you can prep IRL for, so you have a good day. Let's talk about IRL prep. #1 thing, a backpack. Now, obviously you have different options of backpacks. You can go with something bigger. This is my favorite backpack. It's a Cotopaxi bag. Please sponsor me. A lot more space to fit a bunch of things during the day. I highly recommend you have a backpack, because again, these events are from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., 8 hours, long time. But if you prefer to have something smaller, you can also go with like a fanny or like like a strap bag, something like that. Not gonna be able to carry as much stuff, but it can be lighter weight, which is nice. And I think it's all gonna depend as well as on if you're grinding this event outside or inside. It is November here in Canada, so it does get pretty cold, which means you're generally grinding the events from cars or from malls and stuff like that. But if it's still warm where you're at, you can definitely go ahead and grind out all day, in which that's when you want to think a bit more about what's on your bag the whole day and how heavy it's going to be. Now in that backpack, what are we going to put? Obviously, water is going to be very important, and snacks. You want to stay energized and you want to stay hydrated. You're also probably most likely going to be taking a lunch break and stuff like that, but it's always nice to have snacks, dark chocolate, nuts. I always kind of just go whatever hikers are eating on their hikes is what you should be eating when you're grinding out all day playing Pokemon Go. Because I'm not gonna lie, you're not hiking upwards, but Pokemon Go is a lot of hiking and walking and a lot of time on your feet. Also, a power bank, your auto catcher are 2 very important things to go ahead and bring. I have an Anchor power bank, which I think is like 26,000 milliamps. Really, really good. Lasts me the whole day. You can go with something smaller. If you're in a car as well, you don't even have to worry about a power bank, because you can just plug into the car itself. But a power bank, definitely recommend you go ahead and get one of these. And also running an auto catcher like a Pokemon Go Plus is going to be very, very nice if you have one. I always say buying an auto catcher is the #1 thing you can go ahead and get if you're willing to start spending money on Pokemon Go. Sunscreen, another thing to go ahead and consider. I don't really have to consider too much, because it is kind of, well, actually, I always forget that the sun does go through the clouds, but it does get pretty cloudy cloudy here and it is getting colder in the season where we're wearing more and more layers, so it's not as big of an issue. But if you're in a hotter place, you know, California or whatever, where it does get sunny, go ahead and make sure you bring your sunscreen, because if you're gonna be out all day, you don't want to be getting burned. Finally, weather gear, sweaters, rain jackets, winter coats, different stuff like that, all stuff to go ahead and consider when you're grinding. And I always recommend checking the weather the week coming up before it. Keep an eye on it so you'll kind of know what to expect. Is it going to be raining? Do you have to bring an umbrella? Do you have to bring an umbrella hat, which is an item I sometimes bring, which you can go ahead and put on your head and kind of act like an umbrella. Granted, it is kind of uncomfortable, but if you really, really want to grind out in the rain, like an umbrella hat might be what you need. Finally, I recommend setting 2 reminders right now in your calendar. Number 1, remember to pack your bag the night before. You know, in the morning, 10 a.m., it's pretty late, but like sometimes people are groggy in the morning and you end up forgetting things. You do not want to forget things, so I recommend you pack your bag the night before, the Friday night before. Set a reminder to do that. And also charge your gear. The amount of times I've gone out with like a half charged power bank, or my mom is like, oh, I forgot to charge my power bank. Can I use yours? Sorry to shout out Pokemama right now. But anyway, charge your gear, set a reminder, your auto catcher, your phone, your power bank, all that stuff, whatever you have that might be battery powered, charge it the night before. Now, although you're prepped, there is still other things to consider, which is going to be, what are your plans? Who are you playing with? Now, I've talked about this a lot before, but I highly recommend coming to Pokemon Go, click over on Campfire, create a Campfire account if you haven't, and join your local Pokemon Go group. You can come to the map here. You can go ahead and click groups, and it will show you different groups in your area of players who play the game. For example, here we have the Pokemon Go Auto group, 4,300 members. That's where I can meet people who I might end up playing with. Once you've met these people and you have your friends, you might already have them. If you don't have them, that's a great way to find them. Talk about where are you guys going to play? When are you going to play? How long are you guys going to play? When are you taking your lunch breaks? All that stuff, I always recommend planning before the event because it allows for a just much smoother day. When you guys know when you're going to play for before you stop for lunch, everybody kind of knows what the plan is and knows what to expect. What's the saying? Preparing to fail. Something along the lines of that. Also talking about strategies and what your play strategy is. Like, are you guys going to grind catches in the morning? Are you guys going to grind raids? Are you going to grind Gigantamax? Especially things like Gigantamax, which takes a lot of players. It's very important to communicate with your local group and have a plan. For example, there might be a meetup going down in the morning in your area where, you know, 40 players are going to meet up, do a bunch of Gigantamax raids, and in the afternoon, you guys can grind the catches and you guys can grind the raids or whatever. So I highly recommend you plan all that stuff. Talk to your friends, have a meeting, literally what we're doing, have a meeting with your friends and be like, okay, guys, what do we want to get out of this event? What are we trying to catch? And what is the plan? Like, are we going after Gigantamax? Do some people not care about Gigantamax, et cetera, et cetera. Final thing I'll say is practice skills. There's a lot of skills in Pokemon Go that do take some time to get used to, but can change the way you play. First of all, the quick catch technique, which allows you to catch Pokemon way, way faster. I'm going to link below a video to all these skills, by the way, if you want to check them out. But if you don't know the quick catch technique, the number one thing you should be learning before this event, do it and practice it now. So when the event comes, it's second nature. Also, hitting excellent throws, another thing you can go ahead and practice. This is more of a longevity of Pokemon Go, but if you don't know, when you hit excellent throws, it's 1,000 XP per catch. During events like this, hitting excellent throws is not only going to help you catch Pokemon easier, but also let you grind more XP. So always be practicing your excellent throws and getting better at that skill. Finally, the circle lock technique can be very useful for Gigantamax battles and for raid catches and all that stuff. I'll link below a video on how to do this, but it pretty much allows you to hit a guaranteed excellent or great or whatever size circle throw you want on a legendary and never have the chance of them hitting the ball back. Very useful technique to go ahead and know. Again, link video below. Actually, video right below me right now. Go ahead and check that out if you want to know the circle lock technique. That's all I really have to say for the prepping for the wild area event. So I hope you guys are following these tips and starting to get ready. Spoiler alert, generally these tickets are worth it, but I do still think there are some small things to consider. So stay tuned for that video dropping very soon. We'll catch you all in the next one. Follow up to this, everybody. Peace.